Okay, good evening, everybody. So this is an unplanned trade room, an unknown trade. No idea what's going to happen. But if you look at what happened in Australia this evening, it's kind of interesting. I got here and I took a look. Look at this move at 7:30. It's a 20 tick move. It went from 78 up to 99. And then watch when I pulled the news up. What happened was there was a quarterly report that we've never traded, current account, which usually trades like, trade balance and stuff like that. And there was also another trade, which is kind of another news report that's kind of interesting. Um, Net exports, which really is part of current account. And then there was Hong Kong news also that was pretty much matching to the previous. But it's these quarterly accounts. That is a very big news offset. 7 billion versus 9 billion on a quarterly account. On a quarterly report. Quarterly trades, it's been our experience that you can get a 0.1% offset, and that could be a big moving trade. Okay. And so that might explain the big move this time of night, um, on a pretty quiet index this time of night. Also on a time of night when the RBA rate statement's going to come out at 10:30. Usually the market, kind of just sits and hangs around. So anyway, make a long story short, if the market could move 4 ticks plus a couple of more ticks, then maybe we'll make a couple of dollars on Caixin. That's how I see it. I'm going to demand a 4 tick bracket. Um, if there was nothing else going on, if there hadn't been any movement, maybe I would have said 3 ticks. But I think you have to demand the market bring you into the trade so that at least you have a chance of making a couple of bucks. I wouldn't go heavy on this trade. We've never traded it. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. No idea what's going to happen. Um, so I'm going to trade pretty much like I traded Caixin Manufacturing, small, conservative, and we'll watch. This is a report. Usually the news is on time. It's an 8:45 trade, so I'm going to trade it pretty normally. Stop just of 7 ticks. There's no reason to risk a lot of money on it. 140, 150 bucks. And if it doesn't fill in about 15, 20 seconds, I'd probably forget it and we'll just call it a night. And the reason we're not trading the RBA rate statement, very honestly, is because it hasn't been doing anything for months. We used to trade it every single month, and it used to be one of the most volatile, dangerous reports we ever traded. And last month it had a move. Nothing spectacular, but it showed a little bit of life. So, I'll keep my eye on it. And if it moves again, because I'm talking, we haven't traded it in over a year. That's how poorly it's been moving. It hasn't been moving. But there's all this sensitivity to bank rates, statements, and China, Australia. So, we have to roll with the punches and, be alert. And sometimes there's no HIRA because a HIRA demands a year or more's worth of analysis before a HIRA gets generated. So that's why we have a trade room, and that's why sometimes there's no HIRA. It's not that Jay and I don't agree or that, I think he's wrong and he thinks I'm wrong. It's the exact opposite. We just have different levels of analysis, and they take different amounts of time before something happens in writing. Okay. And it's like anybody who traded the Caixin with me last week, that worked really nice, the manufacturing report. So I'm not saying this report's going to even do a thing, but I did test it in January, and it had a small tradable move, a couple of buck profit. It was slow. And in February, it was released on a Saturday, so you couldn't even trade it. So, yeah, if it moves right away, we'll probably get filled. Otherwise, I'll probably just say forget it and just cancel and just put it up to experience and watch. I think there's a possibility if there's a good news offset, like if the data is 50 or 56 or something like that, then I think there could be a move. But otherwise, I don't think much will happen. So that's what I'm thinking. If you have any thoughts, now's the time to air them because this is a short trade room. I don't want to do these trade rooms as half-hour trade rooms. It's not worth it. You could try trading copper on any of the Chinese trades. Copper and the Australian dollar both seem to work nicely. Entry time is 20:44, and forgive me, thank you for waking me up, 58. 20:44:58. Okay. And we'll keep a real close eye, make sure it doesn't get released early, which it usually doesn't. So a bracket of 4, one contract for 3 ticks, one contract for 8 ticks, my usual small little trade. Stop a 7, and I'm entering at 8:44 and 58 seconds, and it's a breakout trade. And it might work, it might not. Alex, if we used to trade Australia current account, it's possible. I mean, it rings a bell, but do you recall, was it a quarterly report back then, Alex? Or was it part of trade? We trade balance. See, now current account very often is part of that trade balance trade. Now, trade balance we would trade, but lately it's just been trading with other news. That's why we haven't had an Australia trade balance trade. So I think that's what you're thinking. I think that's what you're thinking, actually. Trade balance, we would trade. So Australia is a new day. So the money I made on the end of the day trade is gone. It's been eaten up, gone into the stratosphere. Because trade balance is monthly. A current account for most countries is monthly. But Australia has some weird times on their reports where they're not, some of them are quarterly that other countries have as monthlies. So, and look, I could get stopped. I have no idea what's going to happen on this. I don't have a clue. We've never done it, but I don't think it's any crazier than trying to trade Caixin manufacturing services is a part of every economy. Right. Building approvals will one day become a prime trade. That's right. It'll happen. It could happen. You never know. I mean, the market's active. That's the other thing that makes it interesting, you know? The market's active. It kind of wants to move. So I think if there's a good result, I would say what I would probably do is if it goes positive, I'd hit the break even button. And the bid and ask is close. It's not like, they're 100 miles apart. They're not. There's volume. So, I mean, I've seen worse setups. I've seen worse possibilities for a potentially quiet trade. I mean, I kind of waited all night for this, right? So I think something's going to happen. I don't know what. The market looks like it wants to go down. It's made highs and it's made lows based on that quarterly report. So it filled me, and I got a profit no matter what. I'll make a couple of bucks. I'll follow it. It's negative. It was negative. I could have waited a little bit longer. It was negative, but I have to be honest, I was a little bit uncomfortable with the trade. Okay. Never did it before. So given how negative it was, it really didn't move very much. It popped a little bit. It popped a little bit. So it gave me 3 ticks and 4 ticks. And it'll probably head down a little more. It'll probably head down a little more. I'll cancel the trade. I'll happily take the 70 bucks. And now we learned something. This is all about learning something. Now we know this is, the Chinese news really is absolutely unequivocally worth trading. And we could trade 2 or 3 contracts on them without fear. They're giving us nice, steady, safe moves. Okay. And they're coming out on time. So I would like to see mini hires on these trades while the markets are receptive. This is how you do it on your own. If you're looking for reasons, make the reasons you look for a trade sensible. Chinese news we know is sensitive. Bank news we know is sensitive. And bingo. And we know the Australian dollar is moving to these reports. And you saw how much it moved previously. Holy crow. It moved quite a bit. So I don't mind, I could have traded 3 contracts. It would have made more sense to make 100 bucks. But you know what? Look what we left on the table. 2 ticks, because you wouldn't have got it all. You only would have gotten 2 of those, not 3. So who made money? Who made money? Adam, send me a picture, will you? Send me a picture. Adam made 6 ticks. Who else made a couple of ticks? Anybody? Alex, I'm sure you made some ticks. Brett, I'm guessing you made a couple of ticks. There you go. Brett, send me a picture. All right, Bruce, no problem. Brett, your entry was 70, 80, just like mine. Mine was too. Oh, Alex, you set the wrong time. I'm sorry. All right, it's a little tricky this time of night. Hey, just take it off the clock. Just take it off. Oh, you're in Hong Kong too. It makes it crazier. Makes it crazier. David, it moved. We made like 6 ticks. So I got 7 ticks out of it total. And the offset was good. The offset was decent. So it would have worked if you traded it, David. Honest, we traded it. It worked, and it was very safe and on time. All right, folks, I didn't eat dinner yet. I've been waiting and relaxing and fighting with Amazon over my missing phone for 3 days. So I'll see everybody in the morning for the new open trade. We'll see if the new open trade works. Right, David, that's right. It goes on tomorrow. The 50 bucks is gone. That was yesterday. Okay, good night, everybody. I hope we learned something from this. It's a good experience to figure out what you might try on your own if I'm not around or if we're not around. There's a lot to do, a lot of ways to make money. And that's why I love the trade room. Good night, everybody. See you, Brett.